of Charlie, fa la 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 la. Make the Yuletide gross and gnarly, fa la 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 la. Stocking stuffed with ears and fingers, fa la 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 la. Chop from all those caroling singers, fa la 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 la.
Mr. Mash, Christmas is over.
I got a very important question to ask you.
Okay.
Do you want to build a snowman?
This was supposed to be a structured episode. We were going to do an episode about Christmas specials, things you see on TV every year, Rudolph, Frosty, etc. However, the last episode we did was really, really late. Christmas is over now. Mm-hmm. So instead of doing that, we were going to do a slightly holiday-themed episode. It's going to be more general, and we're going to talk about a lot of things, not just Christmas stuff. Even though Christmas is over, people tend to stay in the holiday spirit until at least the New Year.
My family leaves a Christmas tree up until after New Year's Day.
Which is what I do as well, and I think most people probably do that. This is going to be a more general episode. I'm not going to call it a nerd vomit. I promised we wouldn't do any more until sometime next year.
This is like Grandma got run over by a reindeer episode.
I guess we should start with what we got for Christmas. What did we get each other?
You got me the Lego Vampire Curse.
Well, you said I want the Lego Dragula for Christmas, because that's what it is. It's the Dragula from the Munsters, but not really.
Similar to, but legally distinct from.
I already have all of the Lego monster sets, because in addition to writing a super nerdy movie review blog and running a super nerdy movie review podcast, I also collect toys.
Super nerdy toys.
Ladies, I'm single.
Wow.
But you asked for that, so that's what we got you for Christmas. You haven't had a chance to put it together yet. You're pleased with it, yes?
I'm really pleased with it. I don't want to just put Legos together. I'm going to have to, like, super glue them bitches.
Yeah. For Christmas, you got me Ninja Scrolls on Blu-ray.
Which was awesome.
We've already talked a little about that movie on the show, and it looks quite nice on Blu-ray. And I was actually just listening, apparently the same director now wants to do a sequel to Ninja Scrolls.
Really?
Who knows when it'll come out if it gets made. Something to look forward to there. More crazy ninja monsters and presumably more...
gratuitous nudity. Ninjas and rape. Rape ninjas.
Rape ninjas. Oh god, this is off to a great start. We both had really good Christmases. This was the best one I've had in a long time. We both had a chance to spend a lot of time with our family, which was nice. And why don't you tell the viewers about some of the other nerdy shit you got for Christmas?
Got a bunch of guano for my car. It means batshit Batman stuff. As I'm sure you all well know, I am probably one of the biggest Batman nerds you'll ever meet.
I believe it's come up on the show before.
I got a custom-made watch that came from Germany, or at least passed through Germany at some point in time in its travel, that has the Batman and Robin movie symbol on it.
Pretty neat.
All kinds of Batman stickers to put on my car. The only one that I'm not crazy about is a Why So Serious. I got one of those.
The audience knows how we feel about the Dark Knight Batman.
But I'll probably still put it on there. Why not?
Wouldn't you be afraid that people are going to mistake you for one of those mall goths that are obsessed with Heath Ledger's Joker?
No, because I'll correct them with my fist of fury. That's really about all the nerdy shit. And then I got like a deep fryer, a blender.
Yeah, the audience doesn't care about that. I was like the only person who didn't get you Batman stuff.
Dracula's not a pseudo-Batman.
It's got a bat on it.
A ghost bat, no less.
Ghost bat. For Christmas from my close family, I received a bunch of different DVDs. I now own all of the Gamera movies. Now, podcast listeners, I think you know what that means. So that's something that will probably be coming at some point within the next year.
Have you never seen The Christmas Story?
No.
You've never seen The Christmas Story?
I've never seen A Christmas Story.
What the hell's wrong with you?
I got all the Gamera movies. I got a bunch of other things on DVD.
No. We need to talk about this.
Okay,
that is like a travesty.
That segues into our next topic then. No, I've never seen A Christmas Story.
This is a travesty.
I
have to correct this.
Well, there's a bunch of shit you haven't seen that's essential. From what I've seen of the movie, it doesn't really... I know it's got Kolchak in it. I know Darren McGavin's in it. That's like the only thing about it that interests me.
I don't care. You made me sit through Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter. I am going to make you sit through A Christmas Story.
Alright. I mean, can my season not be bright without A Christmas Story?
No.
Well, on that topic, what is some of the Christmas-related stuff you've been watching this year, JD? If any?
Well, you know, we always watch Gremlins every December.
That has become a tradition, yeah. First thing we do when December happens is we sit down and watch Gremlins together, which is the perfect Christmas movie. Pretty fun.
And I watched Santa's Sleigh.
Oh, man, that's a good one. Bill Goldberg drowning Fran
That's
Dresser.
a good one.
I think that's a legitimate clever movie because they have Santa's origin story. It's told in the Rack and Boss stop motion. And
yeah, it's fun.
Any movie that opens with Santa murdering Fran Dresser with a menorah cannot be bad.
I turned on but didn't get to finish watching Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Oh, man.
The one with the psychic chick.
Oh, part 3.
Yeah.
Oh, that one's not as good.
I gotta make it through all of them, but I didn't.
Really, the only one that is... I mean, none of the Silent Night movies are good per se. However, the first one is the most entertaining intentionally, while the second one is the most entertaining unintentionally. 3 is not really all that Christmassy. I know it's got Bill mostly in it, but he doesn't wear a Santa suit. 4 has very little to do with the Christmas season. And 5, frankly, was boring. Oh, and then the recent remake from last year, Silent Night, the pseudo-remake, was pretty entertaining for what it was. Maybe next December we can do a proper Christmas horror episode, because I would like to do that, because there are a lot of films to discuss there. The only Christmas horror stuff I got to watch this year was, I did see the original Silent Deadly Night, which is such a balls-to-the-wall entertaining film. If you go into that one to see Santa murder people, it delivers. You want to see Leanna Quigley go out in the snow with nothing but a pair of jean shorts on, it delivers. And then you want to see her impaled on a set of reindeer antlers, well then it really delivers.
There was 2 semi-traditional, they're not really traditional, but they're kind of new traditional.
Okay.
Christmas movies I watched was Christmas with the Cranks.
Terrible film.
It is. It's Christmas and it's on cable. I'll watch it. Arthur Christmas I watched.
So you didn't watch any good Christmas movies this year, is what you're telling me.
No. I always watch Charlie Brown. I don't want to look for non-traditional stuff this year.
I watched mostly traditional stuff. I watched Charlie Brown. Rewatching it this year, the thing I noticed about that, Charlie Brown's whole dilemma is that he's not in the Christmas mood. He feels like something's missing. I mean, everybody knows the fucking plot.
Christmas time is here.
His dilemma is resolved when Linus goes on stage and tells the nativity story, basically. That's it. Charlie Brown's suddenly in the Christmas mood. It feels like there was a scene missing. Something happened that got him in the Christmassy mood. Hearing the biblical origin does not seem like it should have been enough. I love that tree, though. That tree is adorably shitty. I also watched Rudolph. We've already discussed a little bit off mic about how I think Rudolph and Hermie are gay.
A little. I'll put.
Hermie's always been a little,
He must be a dentist.
The way he acts is a little swishy.
About the big burly mountain man.
Yukon Cornelius?
Yeah. He sings a song about silver and gold.
Yeah, but he wants it because he wants the money. He wants the value, not because he wants to wear it around his neck. No, Yukon Cornelius is definitely the straightest character in that special.
I think he's just the top and the other 2 are the bottom.
When Hermie and Rudolph first meet in the snow, when they start singing their song, the first thing Hermie does to Rudolph is mount him. Throwing that out there, alright?
Rudolph is kind of like the first Christmas horror movie.
No, it wasn't.
It's got an abominable snowman.
Everything about that is soft.
Kind of scary for kids.
The idea that Christmas can be canceled, and all the specials are about that. It's like somehow Christmas can be canceled. Nah, man. Santa's omniscient. He can do anything. I watched Frosty too, which isn't. You have to watch these through a nostalgic lens, because if you try and look at them critically, you'll go, oh, well, this is not sophisticated. Though I have to admit, I really am rather fond of Santa Claus is Coming to Town. I like that better than A Year Without a Santa Claus. Yeah. I know everybody loves the Miser Brothers, but I feel like Santa Claus is Coming to Town is the superior of the 2. It's like the Santa Claus origin story. It explains where he got all his powers and his trademarks. This is something you and I discussed briefly. Hollywood is so crazy right now for dark and gritty reimaginings of public domain characters. And that got me thinking, what's the biggest public domain character ever? Santa Claus. So when's the dark and gritty origin story of Santa Claus coming? And I said this to you in jest, but the more I've thought about it, the more I've been thinking I would totally see that. Sinterklaas Begins, or The Legend of Sinterklaas, or whatever Hollywood generic title would work. I keep having this image in my brain of a badass Viking Santa fighting a horde of demonic elves. He conquered the elves, which is why they're his slaves, and he drained their magic, which is where he gets some of his immortality. Maybe he fought Father Time, and that's where he got his ability to bend time and space to his will. And
you could use that for his immortality too.
And Santa has a great rogues gallery.
The Krampus.
Krampus actually works for Santa. Krampus wears chains, but apparently this is supposed to be symbolic. He is bound to St. Nicholas's will. That could be a storyline about how did the Krampus get bound to St. Nicholas's will. And all over the world there are Krampus-like characters. Should we explain what the Krampus is for people who might not know?
Yeah.
Alright, look that shit up on Wikipedia.
They're hard nerds, Zack. They probably know who the Krampus is.
They should, if they don't. But there are a lot of characters like that. In France, they have a character called Whipping Pete, a Santa Claus that dresses in black and whips children with chains if they've been bad. Christmas is hardcore in Greenland. Greenland, there's a giant monster called the Yule Cat. A giant cat creature catches somebody the day after Christmas who isn't wearing new clothes, it will kill and eat them. So Christmas is hardcore in Greenland. In Italy, they don't have Santa Claus. They have a witch, a classical Halloween-style witch with the hat on and the warty nose who rides around on a broom. This is in Italy. And this character is called Bellina. And she brings children presents and candy, or coal to the bad kids. And in other parts of Europe, they have something called the Yule Goat, which is a anthropomorphic goat that you need to leave booze out for. If the Yule Goat comes to your house and there isn't booze, he will wreck your shit. And it has to be a lot of booze. A little booze will not suffice. The Yule Goat will not be satisfied with only a single beer. It needs to be a whole keg. That shit fascinates me. The weird parts of the Christmas tradition that didn't make it over here.
Since we're talking about the Krampus and all this stuff,
yeah,
and I know you hate all things Seth MacFarlane, but American Dad did a Christmas episode this year that actually involved the Krampus.
Wow, he's really leaked into the mainstream pop culture then, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's on American Dad. He's up there in popularity. Their spin on it was that the Krampus was actually the good guy. He doesn't spoil the kid. He teaches them right from wrong.
Interesting.
Santa Claus has got the AIDS this year, and he won't be round to spread his Christmas cheer. The reindeer all look blue, they know what he's going through. Santa Claus has got the AIDS this year. He won't be yelling out, ho, 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 ho. But he'll be screaming out, no, 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 no. He's lying sick in bed. Call the doctor there instead. Santa Claus has got the AIDS this year.
We're obviously full of the holiday cheer, which is weird because I haven't gotten into the eggnog yet today.
Ba-dum-bum.
One of the reasons why the last episode was so late and I've been so busy, besides doing Christmas stuff for the family, is I've been catching up with a lot of films I've missed throughout the year. The end of the year's coming up. Not only do we do the Phantom Awards here on this show, but on my blog I do a comprehensive list of all the new releases I've seen this year. As of now, I think I've seen 73, and my average is 79, so I still got a couple more I want to get.
How many have I seen then?
Probably much less. So I want to talk a little bit about some of the stuff I have seen recently that we won't be talking about on the Phantom Awards, either because it's not genre or because it isn't good enough to get nominated. I want to start with a movie you seem somewhat interested in just based on the title, called Hell Baby.
That's all I know about the movie.
Hell Baby is a horror parody. It really says a lot that this film is one of the better horror parodies in recent history. Not extraordinarily funny, but compared to the likes of Scary Movie 5 or A Haunted House, it is quite a step up. It's a low bar to clear, is what I'm saying. But the premise of Hell Baby, husband and wife, and the wife is very pregnant, move into a new house. They move into a fixer-upper in a poor part of Louisiana, unaware that the house has a history of violent murder, hauntings, and demonic possession. What ends up happening is the spirit of the devil possesses this woman's unborn child, and a bunch of wacky shit happens. There are a handful of really funny moments in the movie. There is a squatter who lives in the house, a homeless person who keeps breaking in and living in their basement, who steals the whole film. He's by far the most entertaining character, because he will casually mention, the locals call this Homs de Sang. Oh, that sounds nice. What does that mean? House of Blood? That sort of thing. That character's very entertaining. There's some stuff in the film that isn't all that entertaining. There's these priests who talk with the stereotypical Italian accent, and then these local cops, for some reason, keep going to the local sandwich shops and having po' boys. This takes up an unnecessary amount of time, the eating of po' boys. I think the writers found that to be inherently humorous for some reason. One of the notable moments is the film stars that guy, whose name escapes me at the moment, from Hot Tub Time Machine, the bald one, who's on The Daily Show. You familiar with this actor at all? Okay, well, he's in the film. His wife's character's hippie sister, who's played by Ricky Lindholm of Garfunkel and Oates fame, not the skinny one, the blonde one. Or she steps out of the shower and is basically attempting to seduce him. Might be the longest nude scene in film history. She's naked for 10 whole minutes. And it's gratuitous, and it's amusing. Keep your expectations low. And yes, eventually the Hell Baby does appear and does some things. And
Did you say all hell breaks loose?
not all hell. About 15% of hell breaks loose.
You know what movie really does deliver on the all hell breaking loose?
What's that?
This is the end.
Well, I don't want to talk about that one, because that's going to be nominated for a Phantom Award.
I don't care. I want to talk about it.
That's another one I caught up with recently. I did not know going in that was going to be such a straight-up horror comedy, but it truly is. Jonah Hill being possessed by a demon and a giant kaiju-sized devil at the end.
Doesn't that thing have 7 heads or something?
Yeah, it's supposed to be the biblical great beast, gargoyle-like winged demon, and people are getting dismembered and gorily torn up.
Channing Tatum.
I don't want to spoil Channing Tatum's cameo because it is really funny.
It's the only good thing he's ever done.
People have had a turnabout of opinions of him. I haven't seen 21 Jump Street yet, but apparently he's amusing in that as well.
He's alright.
I'm not a crazy big fan of the Seth Rogen acting troupe. I do not like James Franco at all.
I like that he doesn't make it into heaven.
Well, spoil the whole fucking movie for the listeners, why don't you? But the point
It's
is...
been out for 6 months. They've already probably watched it online.
And it's not just a series of pot and dick jokes, though there are a lot. There are many pot and dick jokes in the film, but it's a little more than that.
I'll come wherever I want to go.
It is actually attempting to maybe say something about celebrity and the way celebrity changes people. It has a little more substance than I was expecting.
It's a little smarter than you would expect.
In addition to being very funny and extremely vulgar. They parodied Rosemary's Baby. That scene was awesome. This isn't a dream. This is real. That's not something I was expecting.
The Exorcist parody with Jonah Hill.
The Exorcism of Jonah Hill was worth checking out. Now, a non-genre film I want to talk about a little bit, though it is sort of related to our interest, is a movie called Zero Charisma.
Story of our life.
This is a real independent film. There are no actors in it that you have heard of. I'm not trying to be a hipster. This is many of the actors' first film. It's not directed by anybody of any note. The only name involved with this at all was produced by Chris Hardwick's company. Chris Hardwick of Nerdist fame. A podcast exponentially more popular than this one. Premise of Zero Charisma. It's about a group of late 20s, 30-something nerds who play an RPG. And the RPG circle is run by this guy named Scott. This big fat guy who is unemployed, lives with his grandmother, and has over the years made himself the lord of this little fiefdom of his nerd friends. Bosses them around. To give you an idea of the kind of person Scott is, the film begins, they're playing Dungeons & Dragons or whatever. And one of the guys gets a phone call. It's my wife, she's leaving me. Scott says, says, all right, well, after we're done with our game, you can go check that out. And he says, you don't understand, man. I need to go now. We're in the middle of an important mission, man. That's the sort of person Scott is. He's a terrible human being. The conflict of the movie comes in. This guy leaves their gaming circle. They're missing one. And at a comic book shop, one of the friends meets this guy, whose name escapes me at the moment. He has thick glasses on, and he works for a pop culture news website. He's basically a hipster, and he decides to join their RPG circle and shakes things up. He begins to question Scott's will. Makes the others realize, why are we putting up with this obnoxious, big, fat, annoying dude who bosses us around and is belligerent, claims he came up with the idea for the Matrix, all these things. There have been a lot of movies in the post-Seth Rogen knocked-up mold about man-children, men-childs? Coming of age, finally being forced to belatedly grow up. And this movie is sort of like that, but it's much more realistic. Scott has realized a little bit about himself and how he's not a good person. He starts to make steps towards getting better, but they're very small steps. The last 5 minutes of the film are not him suddenly becoming a mature, fully formed human being overnight.
Sure, to give it away for everybody.
I'm not spoiling any specifics here. Zero Charisma is not an easy watch. I would compare it to the work of Todd Solondz if you're familiar with films like Happiness, Welcome to the Dollhouse, or Storytelling, and I know you're not. But I really enjoyed Zero Charisma. Brutally honest look at the nerd lifestyle. This is not news at this point. This is old news. However, we have not had a chance to rant about this on the show. I think you know what I'm talking about, Mr. Mash.
Are you talking about Gal Gadot being freaking Wonder Woman?
This is all over the interwebs.
I hate this more than Batfleck.
We haven't talked about Batman Superman yet on the show. We liked Man of Steel. It's definitely one of the more divisive films of the year, and the more I think about it, the less I enjoy it. It was a pretty decent start. However, I have a lot of concerns about the next film. First off, it concerns me that Warner Brothers is trying to make Justice League right out of the gate instead of building up to it the way Marvel did with the Avengers. They picked a skinny supermodel to play Wonder Woman, which we all knew they would. We hoped they wouldn't, but they did. I'm over the initial shock of that. Of course they cast a skinny supermodel. It's Hollywood.
I don't get it. Who looks at her and says, oh, that's the woman we want portraying one of our big three characters?
Let's examine why we are so disappointed in this choice. I hate to judge an actress based on her physical appearance. However, she has a very slight, small figure. She's very skinny. She has no muscle mass. She's not particularly tall.
She has no boobs.
That's the opposite of everything Wonder Woman is.
She is kind of tall. I will give her that.
It's frustrating because there were 3 perfect choices for Wonder Woman right there, Hollywood. Now, obviously, Jamie Alexander's working with Marvel. She's pretty much the perfect choice.
Yeah.
She looks the part, and we know she can do it. However, she's contracted with Marvel. I can understand her not getting the part. Gina Carano is probably the closest resemblance to the comic book character. And a lot of people have, talked about her, how she's not a strong enough actress. I think that's really more of a matter of opinion than anything else. But I can agree that maybe she's not strong enough actress to carry a film. But then, Gemma Arterton is a good compromise. She looks enough like the part, and she's a strong enough action, and she can do action movies. With Warner Brothers, you had those choices right there, and then you go with this. I mean, what the fuck? It's so frustrating.
Gemma Arterton actually has Wonder Woman's face.
Yeah, she looks the part. She's a strong actress. I mean, that's another thing I saw this Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunter, which was way more entertaining than I thought it would be.
Right?
So she can do it, like Lynn Collins from John Carter, Phantom Award nominated actress Lynn Collins. I'm sure she puts that on her resume.
I'm sure.
She could have done it too. I don't understand why they would pick some fucking skinny supermodel over all of these qualified actresses. It is so frustrating. I'm willing to give Affleck the benefit of the doubt. I'm not a huge fan, but he's definitely evolved a lot as a performer in the last decade. Daredevil was a long time ago.
He's come a long way since Daredevil.
I'm not real happy about Zack Snyder returning. I've made my issues with his directorial style well known. Now there's rumors that The Flash might be in the movie. What the fuck are you trying to do, Warner Brothers? Is this Batman, Superman, or is this Justice League Part 1?
With the addition of Wonder Woman, I really hate the idea of it being called a Batman Superman movie, or even it being called a Man of Steel movie.
Yeah, it's a Trinity movie now.
And they should just call it that. And recast Wonder Woman. I can get over Batfleck, and I got over that. Henry Cavill's great Superman. At least I thought he was.
Well, we'll talk about that more next month.
I watched Fast and the Furious Part 6.
You've seen Gal Gadot in some.
She's an okay actress. I don't think that she could handle a movie on her own, but I think she'd be okay as part of an ensemble cast.
Off mic, I asked you, she's not Wonder Woman, but is she at least Donna Troy? And you said maybe.
Maybe Donna Troy, yes. Maybe Donna Troy. And in Fast and the Furious 6, every time they turn around, there's a guy coming to her rescue.
Which is no Wonder Woman of mine. Right now, in the New 52, I have taken a lot of issues with DC pairing up Superman and Wonder Woman romantically, and really pushing that.
A lot of the rumors that I have heard are leaning more towards Wonder Woman being Batman's love interest.
I've heard that as well, but I don't want Wonder Woman to be anybody's love interest. I want her to be her own independent character.
But if she's going to be one of their love interests, I'd rather her be Batman's.
I would prefer
that. Actually kind of makes sense.
They were hinted as a couple in the Justice League cartoon, and that worked better than certainly what DC's doing now with her and Superman. The point is, I don't want her to be somebody's supporting character. I don't want her to be Wonder Woman, Batman's girlfriend. I want her to be Wonder Woman, an independent person. Hollywood always takes the wrong lessons from the good superhero movies. Dark Knight comes out, make a shitload of money. Hollywood's reaction was not, from now on, superhero movies need to take the source material seriously. Instead, they said, oh, superhero movies need to be dark and gritty now. The Avengers comes out and makes a shitload of money. And Hollywood's reaction is not, superhero movies need to have really well-casted actors who play off each other really well, have a sense of humor and fun. Instead, their reaction is, superhero movies need to have a lot of superheroes in them. It's almost as if all the studios are run by emotionally stunted 11-year-old boys.
That's a pretty good analogy. I think from now on, if we ever win the lottery, the $500 billion lottery, or
somebody very rich and important dies, and for reasons unknown to us, wills their fortune to us.
yes, we will just have to buy out all the rights
To all the superhero
to all the
characters.
superhero characters and do it right, and even get ourselves in what was the combined universe between Marvel.
Of the amalgam
yes,
series.
we'll do an amalgam movie. Put that in your pipe and fucking smoke it, DC and Marvel.
It is fortuitous that you brought that up. There is something I wanted to show you here on the internet.
Oh god, are we gonna do this on the air?
We're going to do this live.
Oh shit.
For those of our listeners who might not know, in the 90s, Marvel and DC did a team-up. They did a versus book. And after the superheroes got done fighting each other, some wacky thing happened where the universes combined. Wolverine and Batman combined into a character called Dark Claus. Superman and Captain America combined to make a character called Super Soldier, etc. It was super gimmicky. None of the comics were actually that good. However, it is an amusing idea, yes?
Yes.
A new ad is tearing through the internet. They might call it a meme, though I don't know if that necessarily is the correct word for it. Called either Hexafusion, Triple Fusion, or Po-Fusion. The idea behind this is they will take three independent characters that maybe have something in common. For example, this image shows Sonic the Hedgehog, the Flash, and the Roadrunner. And they are laid out in this format where one character is at 12 o'clock, one character is 4, and another character is at 8. And then it individually combines them. Okay, here's what Sonic and the Flash would look like. Here's what Sonic and the Roadrunner would look like. Here's what the Roadrunner and the Flash would look like. And then it puts them all together into one.
Okay.
Well, here's another video game related one. And because it's the internet, most of these are involving obscure video game or anime characters. This one combines Sonic, Mega Man, and Mario.
It's weird looking. Where's the Darth Vader, Darth Maul, and Darth Dooku one?
Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet. That is surprising that somebody hasn't done that. Here's one where somebody's mashed up Poison Ivy, She-Hulk, and Maleficent. The theme here is women with green skin.
Okay, that one actually looks kind of cool. I like the Poison Ivy Maleficent mashup there. That was pretty interesting. Here's one that's using Power Girl with Teen Titans Raven and Avatar's Korra. I don't know how I feel about that.
I think the Power Girl Raven combination is pretty interesting.
I like the Korra Raven mashup, but I don't know how I feel about all three.
The Hexafusion?
Yeah.
And this one, somebody took Felicia from Darkstalkers, Miss Fortune from Skullgirls, and Taukaka from Blue Blaze. So all these fighting game cat girls. This one's amusing. It's Wario and Shadow and Akuma.
Okay, that is kind of cool.
So anyway, this is a fun thing that I found here on the internet. By the time this goes up, our last episode will be up, where we talk about the Disney animated canon. So I still do not know what the fan reaction was to that, whether our viewers were receptive to that. However, we have since seen Frozen. We both pretty liked it.
Yes, we both pretty liked it.
Pretty liked it. Sometimes shit comes out of my mouth and I don't even know what it means.
Frozen was very entertaining.
I liked it. It wasn't as good as Tangled, but I did enjoy it. I liked that this was a Disney film that was focused on the relationship between the sisters. It wasn't about a princess and a prince.
And I really liked that You Want to Build a Snowman song. That was very sweet.
Sure. I liked Olaf, the snowman, the comic relief character, was particularly entertaining. I liked that nothing got him down. He was torn apart and impaled a couple of times, and it didn't faze him. He was cool with that.
I like how his body would keep running away from him.
And visually, of course, I predicted that those CGI ice capes would look really cool. They did.
Yes.
I was right about that.
The movie overall just looked amazing.
That's standard at this point. You know,
yeah,
you
it
can't...
had a great art style.
And it was very similar in Tangled. I mean, obviously, this film was patterned after that.
Almost more realistic in character designs.
A little bit. I generally liked the Norwegian setting. I thought that was a unique setting for a film.
Yeah.
I wasn't a really big fan of the music in this one. The music was done by the same team that did the music for the Broadway show Avenue Q. You familiar with that? Mm-hmm. There are a few times where I found the music did not advance the plot. There's a sequence involving trolls, stops the plot completely. A character is running out of time, but instead of the plot continuing forward in order to help her, we stop and have a wacky musical number. And overall the music was soft, except for Elsa's big song, Let It Go, where she builds the ice castle. Mm-hmm. That was awesome.
Yeah.
That song's going to get nominated for an Oscar, alright? You watch me, it will.
They have 3 really good songs, in my opinion, anyway. I don't think you feel as strongly about Do You Want to Build a Snowman as I do.
It was alright.
Let It Go And then the Olaf, I'm going to do what a snowman does in summer.
Yeah, that was cute. It didn't really move the plot forward, but it was very entertaining. I like that one.
A living snowman's going to have dreams.
Yeah, that was one I enjoyed. And that got me reading about some other stuff. About some Disney projects that were planned, were in pre-production, but were never realized. You can look this up on Wikipedia. They have a list of unproduced Disney projects. Some of these what-ifs are pretty interesting. The one that really struck me, in the 90s, there were plans to do a adaptation of Hans Christian Andersen's The Emperor and the Nightingale, set in medieval India. And this was done around the same time as Aladdin. You can actually find production art of this online. And that sounded really intriguing and interesting. Before the MGM version of Wizard of Oz came out, Disney thought about doing an adaptation of Wizard of Oz. In the 40s, they considered doing an adaptation of the Chanticleer of the Rooster stories, and they thought about doing that again in the 70s, and that would eventually evolve into the Don Bluth movie Rock-a-Doodle. There were talks of doing an adaptation of Little Red Riding Hood and Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Apparently, at one point, an adaptation of Jack and the Beanstalk was floated.
How do you do 80-minute Disney-style feature on Goldilocks and the Three Bears?
Well, that's a question, isn't it? There would be quite a bit of adaptational expansion there. It would be interesting to see what that would have been like in the middle of the Disney Golden Period. I'm all for Disney doing fairy tale adaptations. That's what I want to see. That's what I like. And I bring this up because Frozen was something that was in production for a long time. This was an adaptation of The Snow Queen. Final film doesn't have a lot to do with the Hans Christian Andersen story, The Snow Queen. It's a very loose adaptation. That's something they've been wanting to do since the 40s. They floated around doing an adaptation of that back then. Don Quixote is something they've been trying to adapt over and over again over the years.
Or, that would be pretty cool to see a Disney take on that.
It would be. A weird-sounding project that almost got made in the 2000s was a film that would have been called My Peoples, and it would have been an adaptation of Oscar Wilde's The Canterville Ghost, set in Appalachia, with a bluegrass score starring the voices of Hal Holbrook, Lily Tomlin, and Dolly Parton. And it was canceled because it didn't have a mass appeal. Really different and interesting there.
Yeah.
I'm for Disney making films with strong cultural identities, because they've had a lot of success with that in the past. Set a film in the Middle East or in China or in Louisiana or whatever, and that setting informs the style and color of the film. I'm all about projects that could have been unmade projects. That intrigues me, because frequently the movies that didn't get made are more interesting than the ones that did. What if David Lynch had directed Return of the Jedi? What if David Cronenberg had directed Total Recall? Wow, that would have been a different movie.
What if Superman Lives, or whatever that...
Oh, the Nick Cage, Tim Burton Superman movie?
Yeah, the Tim Burton Superman movie.
Where he fights a giant spider?
Yeah, that movie sounds awful, but it still would have probably been better than Superman Returns.
It would have been more interesting at the very least, because it would have been totally batshit insane.
But it would have been different.
Would have been very different. I don't know if the world needed Nicolas Cage with a mullet in a chrome black Superman outfit fighting a giant spider.
I still would have seen it.
We see all the superhero movies. I mean, we saw fucking Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance in the theater.
That movie is one of those ones that's so bad, turns back around and becomes good again.
Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance has about 15 minutes of really awesome stuff in it.
And pissing fire.
Or the scene where Ghost Rider jumps into the giant landscaping machine.
Right?
Yeah, that stuff was awesome.
Or when they blow him up and he's sitting there floating in air.
That's when you realize this movie was directed by the guys who did Crank.
You have to stop asking the question why and start asking the question why not.
Exactly! Exactly! And speaking of which, when are we getting the Crank free? Damn, make that movie, Hollywood.
How are they going to top the awesomeness of Crank 2? Have him fly?
They would do it, too.
Breathe fire?
The only team that could top Crank 2 are the people who made Crank 2. It's a shame that Jason Statham, most of his movies are completely forgettable. Did you see Homefront? No, nobody did. I mean, what about Parker? Yeah, nobody gives a shit about that.
What about In the Name of the King?
I saw In the Name of the King.
You wish you had.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, have we rambled on enough?
We've rambled for about an hour.
Yeah, I think we could probably nip it in the bud around here. Nip it in the bud. Nip it in the bud, Andy. Before we close the chapter on 2013, we're going into our third year of existence as a show. Can you believe that?
No.
In our first year, we put out 9 episodes over 12 months. I know the show has an irregular release schedule. However, here in 2013, we've done a much better job of getting episodes out.
Yeah, we're on episode 20-something.
This is episode 31.
31?
Or wait. It might be 32. I'm not sure. I think this is episode 32. 32 episodes. How many hours of us screaming into cyberspace is that?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
We actually made inwards towards becoming a real show this year, I think. Our release schedule has always been 2 episodes a month. Sometimes we're inconsistent with that, but we did a lot better this year is the point. I wish I could say our viewership has gone up as a result of that, but I don't know if it has.
It's gone up a little bit.
It has. We are developing a fan following. We did get an email. We got our first Nigerian prince letter.
When did that happen?
Just the other day. But it wasn't a Nigerian prince letter. It was a Syrian heiress of $1 million company company whose family died in the gas attacks, which I thought was really distasteful, using political turmoil and genocide as a way to push your internet scam. Banks are going to a new low. People who steal people's credit cards on the internet. It's almost as if they don't have any scruples. It blows my mind that we've been doing this for 2 years now. I mean, I can't believe it. I really can't. What the hell?
Oh, Lloyd.
We have received emails in the past, and we would like to receive more. I feel like we do this every episode where we're begging. Write to us. Like the Facebook group. Leave comments on YouTube. Acknowledge us in some way.
Have you even checked the Facebook this week? Because I haven't.
I check it pretty regularly. I leave messages on there. I left a message saying, if we don't get to get 2 episodes out this month, sorry. Would you say, Mr. Max, that this show has enriched your life in any way?
I don't know if enriched is the word.
Has it started to feel like work yet? Because that's when it's time to stop.
It does feel like work a little bit, but I enjoy doing it. You still have to invest a lot of time, and
you have to invest a lot of time in it. I'm the one who spends 12 hours a week editing.
Do you really like there's an argument on the air?
Whose fault is that, is the point you're making?
Yes.
If you did the editing, you just release all the shows uncut.
Right.
All our rambling and stuttering.
No, I would cut out the long pauses. While you're in the middle of talking, I gotta take a shit. Yeah, I'd cut that out.
Our listener base is still small. I'd say, hey, let's raise a glass of the Bangers and Mash show. We've lasted 2 years, and we're going into our 3rd year, and many more episodes to come, I suspect.
Okay, cheers.
Cheers. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, from ours to yours.
Happy Hanukkah, Merry Kwanzaa.
To this year, and many more to come.
We wish you'd bury the missus. We wish you'd bury the missus. We wish you'd bury the missus. She's been dead since last year. She's getting quite gamey with mold on her skin. You killed her last Christmas, that's how long it has been. It's time you bury the missus. It's time you bury the missus. We wish you'd bury the missus. She's been dead